Today we are looking at sustainable transportation, so we're going to do things a little differently. I love walking, so today you are going to join me on one of my usual walks. And walking for me is how I think through problems, how I relax after a difficult day. And like so many people throughout history, walking is how I connect with my God. You know, throughout time, the people of God have connected with God through his creation. And Paul, the writer of most of the New Testament, says this in his letter to the Romans in chapter 2, verse 20. For since the world was created, people have seen the earth and sky. Through everything God made, they can clearly see his invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature. And so what Paul is saying is that, how do I know that God is real? Well, just look at creation. And psychologists are just starting to catch up with this idea that spending time in creation is great for mental health, for anxiety, for our well-being. Something that Christians have known for over 2,000 years. But there are so many more benefits to walking. Each stride you take uses over 200 different muscles. And so an hour of walking burns more calories than an hour of sit-ups. And walking is absolutely amazing at regulating your blood sugars, and so it can help aid against type 2 diabetes. But the best news for teachers is that walking helps with cognitive ability and memory. And research suggests that walking 40 minutes 3 times a week can increase the size of the hippocampus, the part of the brain that is associated with memory recall. And so a pupil who walks to school each day is already in a far better position to start learning than a pupil who has been driven to school. But there's one thing whilst walking that impacts a child's life more than anything else. And it's probably the reason why I grew up to love walking. You see, growing up, my dad was a vicar, and because he'd work weekends, he'd take Tuesday as his day off. And that was the day he would pick up me and my brother from school. And Tuesday fast became my favourite day of the week, as I'd run out at the end of the school day onto the school playground, see my dad in the corner of the playground, run to him, give him a big hug, and then we'd start the process of walking home together. And that was the space every week where my dad and I would talk through everything, where I'd tell him all the things that were going well in my life and all the things that I was struggling with. And I grew to really value that time with my dad. And if I'm honest, I think that is I think if I'm being honest, that is the time, if I'm being honest, I think that is how I grew up to be so mentally resilient. And really, isn't that what we want for all of our pupils as they flourish in our schools? Now, I'm not naive. I know that there are so many reasons why parents can't walk their children to school. But maybe the solution to that is a walking bus. Now, the idea of a walking bus came from Japan in 1962, and it was a way of getting the children of working families walking to school each day. And just like a regular bus, a walking bus allows a group of children to walk a set route each day, picking up more children at different stops along the way, led by volunteers. Now, maybe that's something that you could partner with your local church to arrange a walking bus for your pupils. But what about those pupils who live too far to walk or cycle to school? Well, how many times each morning do you see a big 7-seater SUV with only one pupil in? Could parents arrange a carpool system where parents take it in turns each day to drive a number of pupils to school? Not only does this reduce our carbon footprint, but it will also reduce the congestion at these school gates each day. And for those longer journeys, so for school trips, could you consider using public transport? So local buses and trains. I love that Bowden Church School and many other schools opted to go via train to the Leavers service last year. And although it was mainly financially motivated, it is such a fantastic way to reduce our environmental impact. And I know that there were many pupils who preferred the exciting train ride to a dull coach trip. And so my question to you is this: what could you be doing in your school to promote sustainable transportation? As always, let me know in the comments below if there's anything I've missed. But shall we end this video in prayer? Lord, again, I thank you that you reveal yourself in creation, your eternal power and your divine nature. And Lord, I pray that you would continue to reveal these things to us as we look to these schools who are more sustainable in our transportation. Amen.